Hello, wrestling fans. Blake Smith from Walking the Ropes, and welcome to another episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review for AEW Dynamite from Atlanta, Georgia. But before that, make sure to check out the Walking the Ropes link tree for all things Walking the Ropes. To open the show, we had the AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page making his way to the announcer's desk to watch a singles match between Bryan Danielson and Alan 5 Angels of the Dark Order. Danielson looks to make quick work of Angels as he works him down and starts to taunt the crowd and Angels. Angels uses his speed to get ahead of Danielson and beats him down until Danielson explodes out and keeps working Angels over in the corner. Bryan hits the big boot in the corner and then keeping the slow pace as he continues to control Angels. Alan rallies, but Danielson locks him in an armbar, and Alan then sends Bryan outside, hitting a dive followed by a moonsault, and then in the ring he goes for another moonsault press, but Danielson moves, hits the big running knee that he defeated Suzuki with, and then looks at Page as he stomps on Angels. Danielson taunts and then locks in the knee bar for the win. Bryan Danielson then defeats Alan Angels. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 3 out of 5. It was a solid match. Nothing wrong with it. Obviously, we're building towards the big blow-off match between Hangman and Danielson, which was confirmed to be happening at Winter is Coming, which is in 2 weeks in Texas, I believe. After the match, Tony Schiavone talks with Danielson and says that he is more than ready to face Hangman. Bryan says that he doesn't think so, saying he whooped Atlanta's best, which wasn't that hard in his opinion. Says he'll take out a member of the Dark Order that's from Long Island, which I believe is John Silver. And then in 2 weeks in Texas, he'll take on the AEW World Champion. Tells Adam that he's all about coward shit, and Page goes to run at him, but Silver reminds him that he can't touch him tonight as ruling by Tony Khan, so he does it instead. Bryan slides out of the ring and says as much as he would love to slap Page in the face, the fans don't deserve it. Miro stands in a white room and talks to his god about his vision. Says that now he will storm the gates of heaven, and says he will fix his one weakness and replace his other. We then get a singles match, Lee Moriarty versus CM Punk. And before the match even starts, MJF makes his way out to join commentary. We were having people regularly join commentary as JR was... he's not going to be there. They confirmed for, I believe it was until December 29th at the very least, he will be off. I could be wrong about that. I hope he will return, and I just wish that he'll get back to the commentary booth soon. MJF then proceeds to run down CM Punk the whole time, saying CM stands for crystal meth. And then Punk and Moriarty start out slowly as MJF is putting himself over and mentions the battle royal for the Dynamite Diamond Ring. He says it's next week and the finals are the week after that. And he plans to keep his ring for a third time. Moriarty is working Punk over as he wears him down with wrist holds. Punk, though, starts to come back, hitting a leg lariat followed by a springboard dive. And then Punk continues to control Lee as he wears him down with a body scissors. And Lee is finally able to get going again as he hits an exploder for a near fall and looks to finish it all, but Punk slips out and hits a cross body, but Lee rolls him up and then transitions into a crossface as Punk kicked out. Punk then gets out and sets up Lee on the top and hits a Hurricane Rana, but Lee rolls up Punk for a near fall. They go back and forth with near falls, and Lee hits a big lariat and a big boot to get, Lee hits a big lariat and followed by a boot, and then an inverted powerbomb for a near fall. Punk then reverses a suplex, and hits the GTS for the win. CM Punk defeats Lee Moriarty, and for my Malteser scale, I gave this a 3.25 out of 5. It was a very solid match. MJF then gets on the mic and tells Punk it's funny he struggles to beat these guys. He even struggles to get in Britt's pants. He says he's one pump chump, and then Punk grabs a mic and says that he has the nerve to talk about the getting in pants when he's in pajamas. Says it's funny because MJF couldn't even beat Lee or QT. Punk then tells him to come to the ring, and MJF says not tonight, but next week he'll show CM Punk what a real professional looks like when he wins the Battle Royal, or is one of the finalists in the Battle Royal. Says he will be better than Piper in Portland, better than Brett in Canada, and better than Punk in Chicago. Says Punk shouldn't bring his dog here anymore either, because if he does, he'll put Larry to sleep. Punk then comes down to beat on MJF, but Wardlow gets in his way, and MJF and Wardlow leave. We then get Britt Baker talking with Tony Schiavone, and she says it's unfair that Rio won. Britt and Jamie start to kind of butt heads, and then Britt says that they're back on track after getting back. I think they went on like a group thing over the weekend or something like that, she said. And next week, Jamie is going to slaughter Riho, which, yeah, I mean, judging by the fact that Jamie and Britt are arguing, I don't think this is going to last much longer. Adam Cole then makes his way to commentary, but he has to do his full entrance first, which I thought was hilarious. Orange Cassidy then makes his way out and starts to just stare at Cole. They stare each other down, and then Orange puts his hands in his pockets, and the Bucks come out to take out Orange, but Orange turns and starts to do his kicks, but Cole low blows him, and then the Bucks mock Orange, hit a big super kick, and then they are going for the BTE trigger, but the best friends come out to make the save. We then get Tony Nese talking about how he was rudely interrupted, and now on Rampage he's going to take the title from Sammy. I think it'll be interesting, and realistically he could do it. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with somebody coming in and winning this title, and I believe he has had a match on Dark, which, yeah, so he's not necessarily debuting, he'll just be making his TV debut. Then we get a singles match, Wardlow with Shawn Spears versus AC Adams. Wardlow kills AC Adams, but lets him take the first shot so that it looks fair, sort of. Wardlow then hits 4 big power bombs for the win. Wardlow defeats AC Adams, and for my Malteser scale, I gave this a 1 out of 5 as it just kind of felt there. After the match, Spears hits AC with the chair, and they leave. Pac and Penta say that because of an injury to Fenix, that match that was going to be FTR versus Lucha Brothers in a best 2 out of 3 falls, it will now be Pac instead of Phoenix, which still is going to be a good match, but Pac has an eye patch because of the black mist from Malachi Black, so they aren't exactly going in even. We then get a tag team match, the Gun Club versus Sting and Darby Allin. Taz is on commentary and talks about how he was a bit surprised with Dante joining his team last week, but he also was not shocked because he's a decorated champion and legend. In the ring, though, Darby and Colton start out, and Darby quickly takes control, and then Colton tags in Billy, doesn't even look at Darby. He stares straight at Sting, and Sting comes in, and they stand off as Sting starts to take it to Billy. He goes for the Stinger Splash quickly, but Billy moves out and starts to talk with Colton and Austin. Sting and Darby control Colton until they get a blind tag, and Billy catches Darby in midair and slams him down. Colton and Billy beat on Darby in their corner, and Darby has a cut on the top of his head as the Gun Club mocks Sting with a Scorpion Deathlock. And they also continue to beat on Darby in their corner until Darby fights out, sending Colton into Billy, and then getting a tag to Sting, who comes in, clears the ring, and then locks in the Scorpion Deathlock on Colton. Billy distracts the ref, and Austin takes out Sting with a huge right, which Darby then takes Austin out, hitting a coffin drop to the outside. Billy hits the Famouser on Sting in the ring, so Colton can get a near fall, as Darby comes sprinting across the ring, taking Billy out. Darby then hits a stunner in the ring from the top rope, and Sting hits the Scorpion Death Drop for the win. We get Sting and Darby Allin defeating the Gun Club, and for my Malteser scale, I gave this a 3.25 out of 5. It was solid, and I really enjoyed the fact that they were focusing on the fact that both teams were undefeated. That was really important during this match. I really enjoyed that. Jericho talks about what he did last week. He wasn't saving Eddie. He was taking out 2.0. As he continues, 2.0 and Daniel Garcia jump him and smash him with a chair up against the garage door, which was a brutal shot, but not the most brutal that happens tonight. After that, Taz does some Steiner math and says that because he has 3 men in the Dynamite dozen, that gives him a 125% chance at winning. Right. Leo Rush comes out and says that Taz should know him. Taz saying that he has over 100% chance means that Leo has 0, and that's not true because Leo is a fighter and he won't be going down without a fight. Taz just laughs at him as Dante and Ricky come out to complete the full ensemble of Team Taz. This just makes Leo angry, and I believe he just leaves. Jade Cargill and Smart Mark Sterling talk about Thunder Rosa. Cargill says that she put out an open challenge for Rampage, and it was accepted by one of Rosa's students, Gianna Kay. Or Kai. I apologize. Rosa tells her that Jericho's not going to be on commentary, so Rosa was able to choose whoever she wanted, or whichever match she wanted to cover, and she chose Jade's. She starts to speak in Spanish, and Jade and Mark leave. We then get a TBS Championship Tournament match. Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho. They start out trying to control one another, and they continue to go back and forth with neither one gaining an edge. They start to pick up the pace as they exchange arm drags and falls. Statlander then starts to roll as she slams Ruby. Ruby, though, answers with a senton from the top, and then Statlander hits a buckle bomb followed by a power bomb for a near fall. Ruby explodes out of the corner and then hits a poison Rana followed by a spike Rana for a near fall, which she looks surprised about. Statlander then goes for a powerbomb, but Ruby rolls her up and gets the win. Ruby Soho defeats Chris Statlander to move on in the TBS Championship Tournament to face Nyla Rose in the semifinals. The other semifinal is Thunder Rosa versus Jade Cargill. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 3.5 out of 5. It was a very solid match. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And finally, we move straight on to the main event. It is an Atlanta street fight. Andrade El Idolo versus Cody Rhodes. Andrade comes to the ring with a huge knife and hands it to Jose, who puts it in this big bag with what looks like other knives and items. Before Cody finishes his entrance, Andrade and Jose jump Cody and Arn. And when Jose and Arn met, Arn misses a step and he falls straight off the stage. It wasn't like a far fall, but it still looked pretty aggressive for somebody who's not in ring shape. And I hope he's okay. I mean, he continued to do things throughout this match, but it was still a very scary bump for sure. Cody and Andrade beat on each other as Arn and Jose battled to the back. We didn't see Arn and Jose for a good 5 to 10 minutes-ish, I'd say. So I believe Arn was getting checked over. Cody then tosses a trash can at Andrade as they brawl through the crowd. They brawl to the back, or to the ringside, and Cody seems to have something all over his back. It actually just looks like his skin's peeling. Andrade drops him on the steps, and Cody makes a comeback and gets T-Pain to give him his chair, and he beats on Andrade. Finally, in the ring, Cody goes to whip Andrade with the leather workout belt, but Andrade hits a low blow with a... Andrade hits a low blow and whips Cody with it instead. Andrade then uses the items in the bag and smashes Cody with a laptop. And Andrade keeps grabbing items and taunting fans. He goes to grab a table out from underneath and stops, and then goes to whip Cody with the chain, but Cody moves instead. Andrade then puts a chair on Cody and then hits a split leg moonsault for a near fall. Andrade goes for a backdrop, but Cody flips over and hits a big low blow. Cody goes for the Cody cutter, but Andrade pushes him off, and Arn and Jose are back now, brawling to the stage as Cody and Andrade brawl in the ring. Andrade goes for the split-legged moonsault again, but Cody this time tosses the chair at him, and then Cody smashes Andrade with the chain and then slams him down to the mat. Cody goes for a tope suicida, but Andrade tosses the chair in his face, and Cody is busted open. Andrade then moves the padding and goes for a DDT, but Cody stops him and sends him into the ring after a body drop to the concrete. And then teases the crowd with a kendo stick, a sledgehammer, and then grabs a big golden shovel. And Jose comes sprinting down to the ring with a taser, and Cody hits him with the golden shovel. And then Andrade comes flying over the top ring post and dives on Cody. Andrade then puts a chair in Cody's face in the corner and hits a double knee drop for a near fall. Andrade then grabs a table, puts it in the corner, and sends Cody flying into it. Andrade then grabs another table, sets Cody on it as he goes to the top, and Cody meets him on the top rope and goes for a superplex, but is stopped, and they brawled on the top ropes as Brandy came out of nowhere and puts lighter fluid all over the table and lights it on fire. Cody then hits a reverse DDT through the table for the win, as Cody and Andrade have flames on them. There was little pieces of the table falling on them on fire. It was nuts. Cody defeats Andrade El Idolo. For my Malteser scale, I gave this a 5 out of 5. It was a perfect match. I loved it thoroughly. I can't think of a better way of that match have gone. My overall for the show, it's a 4 out of 5. It was a great show. I did really enjoy all of it. And for my match of the night, it was definitely the Atlanta Street Night. And my segment of the night goes to MJF and CM Punk after CM Punk's match. That was really well done. And then we get, for the performers of the night, it is definitely Andrade and Cody. They put their lives on the line for that match, and I absolutely enjoyed it. But that is all for this episode of Walking the Ropes Wrestling Review. Thank you all for dropping in. If you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get notifications whenever we upload a video. Sorry. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.